There we go. Okay.
Okay. We can hear now.
Hey.
Did I do it right? Oh, there's some people coming in. Hey, Tori. Hey, girl. Okay.
I'll say that.
All right. Okay, so what we were saying is we were talking about a minute ago, we were talking about just who was what class and when you started, where you were, what was going on in that time of your life. Started the mentoring program. Hey, Aki. Hey, Precious. How you doing? And so just want to make sure that I'm going to go through, loop through everybody and share so that everybody kind of gets an idea of who everybody is and where you were in mentoring and all that stuff. So Simone Green, I knew like for eons, of course, before me management, but Simone was later on. She was you were in our very first online class, right? If I'm
Yes.
not mistaken, it was you, Jody, Latasha. It was a group of you guys that were in the first very first, excuse me, not live, online class.
Yes.
And we had Laura, who was in 2012. I'm going in the order of your faces on my screen, okay? So Laura in 2012, she joined me management. I was telling a couple people earlier before we went live that Laura was finishing up her master's degree when she came and she was like, Pastor T, I just need to do this. I just need to do this. And I was like, girl, I just don't know. I don't think it's going to work. And she was just like, no, I could do it. And she slam dunked her master's and she slam dunked on me management. And she was just so she was like a force. And I just love her. And we were saying earlier, when you want to do something, you will do it. Like you will get out there and make it happen if you really, and if you need something. And I think that that's what it's about. We need each other and we need women in our lives. We need people to speak and help us like push through different things. So Laura does that. London is next on my screen. London, we were talking about London, like not remembering what year she was even in it, but I think we were like, Jackie could correct us, 2004, 2005. So I think the very first class of me management happened in 2004. So that would mean you probably had to be around 2005. Everybody's going to share in a minute. London actually went through the program, then she became a mentor and she taught a couple classes and just amazing sister, just mom and all of that. She has some great stuff she's going to share. Then we have Darshell, who is just my heart, my heart, my heart. And I think that unfortunately, Jackie bullied me into bullying Darshell. And I'm gonna put Jackie out there like that because I was all see, Darshell will trick you and you'll be like, oh, Darshell, oh, she's so sweet. And Jackie be like, no, Darshell, you need to do that. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, Darshell, you need to, because it's like it was hilarious because Jackie was like, "No, Pastor T, you gotta hold her to it. You gotta hold Darshell to it because she wanted to be in law enforcement at the time." And Jackie, I love Jackie. Jackie will put some pressure on you for real, and she was pressuring her. So I hope that Darshell still loves me because I got on the pressuring Darshell kick during that time. But I love her. Julie Brown, who is forever going to be called Jules, okay, because she is I used to tell her, you a jewel in my crown, girl, but she's just a jewel overall, just like that. She is that beautiful, wonderful, amazing. Julie was in class number one. And so if Julie was in class one, Jan was in class one, Kelly was in class one, and I
Woo!
am, baby, let me tell you, if we didn't go through some emotions that 4 year, like there was a couple, I think we started off with like 13 or 14, but only 7 people actually graduated because baby, we were working it through. And they just like they are that group. They set up the program for everybody. We did the work, and I think our classes, we met once a week. And I think our classes may have lasted for many hours because yeah, it was deep. But we traveled together. We did some amazing stuff. So I'll let them share later. Jamila Jackson is next. Jamila Jackson was part of our Inglewood girls. She's representing tonight. Jamila is married now. Y'all are all married and cute and grown and everything. But Jamila was like, I feel like you were a baby when you started. Your life was really developing, and and a group of her crew, some dear friends of mine, Tigra Little, Vicky Mac Latier, who a lot of us know from the record industry. They took a year of their life and they mentored a group of young ladies. Jamila was in that class. And so I fell in love with her because her mentors, facilitators were they just so in love with her. Now she's just doing it, y'all. I really hope that you guys will all follow each other online and social media just to track. Next up, we have Kelly. Kelly Goodness is over here with her camera off. But let me tell you, we are here tonight because of Miss Goodness. Okay, she just has been a rock star in terms of believing in me management. And I also want to say that me management was birthed out of Sisters Inspiring Sisters, where we met once a month. And that was what Julie and Jan and Kelly were all a part of. And it was Kelly who said, we need this on the East Coast too. And for about, Simone was part of that too. I think it was about 6 months maybe that we actually flew to DC every month and ran a women's mentoring Bible study group there, just so that we could all, we could share that. And so Kelly always really believed and pushed and shared. And so she's here tonight. We're going to try our best not to act a fool, but so I love her to life. Okay. So next up, we have Jackie Plunkett, my baby for the end of time. This man, look, He's like, yeah. So Jackie is like hardcore responsible for keeping me management alive in the San Fernando Valley of California. I know we have ladies all over the country right now. Jackie has taught probably more classes than me in me management, honestly. So, and she'd be careful because she can talk you into anything. She talked me into moving to Santa Clarita, California, just over dinner one night. She is just that woman. She has talked me in to keeping me management alive. So I just thank Jackie for being here. And she has a lot of insight into just mentoring women and sticking. She has sticking power. That's what I love about Jackie. I love that. I saw her do that with a lot of women. Monica, I think, was in her crew, taught with her. Eki taught with her. So I'll let you guys share. Then next up, we have my sister. I would call her by her real name, Victoria, because I have my nicknames, but she's Tori. So if you hear me, Tori's Goodness, Jan, Jules. So Tori wasn't in the first group, but Tori and I were little girls together. So Tori was part, I'm gonna tell you, Tori goes back to me buying cigarettes to take them to the Bible study. Okay. That's how far back we were little kids. And I was the youngest buying cigarettes to take them. So while our parents were in Bible study, we were in the back track, called ourselves learning how to smoke. So that's a whole nother conversation. But Tori and I have done the HBCU thing together. I was at Howard. She was at Spelman. After we grew up, she would drive. Yeah, that's right. Laura's a Spelman grad. And she would leave Spelman's campus Friday, drive to DC. We would party. One time our car broke down. We were going to a Kappa party or something. And our car broke down. And I said, well, I'm going to pray. And I prayed. I said, Lord, we promise we will never drink again. We won't party no more. Lord, if you could just get our car started. It was like 2 or 3 in the morning. And Tori, we were like, yes, Lord, yes. And I promise you, when that car started, Tori said, well, the liquor store is right here. I was like, yeah, that's true. Let's just go. So it is nothing. You got to have one person who knows your history, because me and Tori, Lord have mercy if Howard and Spelman could talk. But that is my girl. She had children for me when I couldn't have kids. She had a little boy named Devin, and then the Lord blessed me because he didn't want me to steal her child. So she has been with me forever. And Tori's mom and my mom, they were actually part of women who were mentoring. And so we learned mentoring and discipleship from Pastor Frank Wilson, from our parents. They had an East Coast fellowship, a West Coast fellowship on the real, the generals. And so when the women would meet, they had like 12 women from all over the country in all different types of industries. When the women would meet, we would serve them and we would cook, or we would do the airport runs. And I remember picking up Coretta Scott and cooking for them and all of that. So that is where we learned. We got our teeth cut on mentoring and discipleship during that time. And so it was really awesome. Then next up, we have my one and only queen, like truth table talk girl, Ekamini. She is just so fabulous. I just love her. She is just amazing. And let me tell you how real mentoring and discipleship is. I hadn't talked to Eki in forever, and I'm scrolling through all this stuff on social media, find her name, contact her. She picks up the phone, and we hadn't talked in maybe 8-10 years. And me and Eki just started talking like it was yesterday. So I'm in this book and I'm reading and I see her name on there giving a quote. And I'm like, oh, let me call Eki. I could ask her about this author. And she left after she did me management, taught some classes with Jackie. She moved to the East Coast from California, got her master's in divinity degree. She has an amazing podcast. She just has, God has just used her as a powerful instrument for Black women. So she has in turn started mentoring thousands just because of her work, and I'm so glad she's here. And then we have my sister from the end till the end of time, Jan Jan. This is my daughter's other mother. I call her Jan Jan, but I will be nice and call her Jan Coleman. And so Jan, I totally embarrass her. She's from class 1, and y'all know I don't have any sense, right? And can I tell the story, Jan, about the flags? So when Jan was praying and believing, and she was in me management, she was like, I really want to work at this particular studio. And I was like, oh, girl, we're just gonna go over there and pray. And she was like, oh, okay. So she said, we're just gonna drive by. I said, no, we're gonna park and just walk around the television studio and pray. And she was like, okay, because you never know with me. So Eki, girl, you know what I did? I got out the car, me and Monica Griffin got out the car, started waving banners declaring that she would be there and God would bless her on the street in front of all this traffic. And Jan is like, okay, I really can't right now. I know Jan was, what do we call her, Kelly? Clutch the pearls? Because when we were in me management, if it ever got deep, she would be like, oh, remember that, Julie? Jan was like, oh, you guys are doing too much. Oh my God. So yeah, I pray, but she's working at that studio now. So praise God. That was my only redemption, because I was like, if she don't get this job, I'm gonna be like Paula White up in here. And I didn't mean, I forgot we were live. So I didn't mean that. So anyway, yeah, it came to pass. But I love her. And last but not least, we have the only woman on here that is my height, and I love her. She is my dog's godmother, because Monica stepped in and stayed at our house and babysat Jake for like 2 months almost. So Monica, I don't remember what class you were in, but she's part of the Jackie and London and Eki crew. And so I just want to thank you guys all. It took forever to introduce you, but people need to know who you are and how you are connected and just all of that. So thank you guys for being here. So the world has been crazy. Like, I don't know. Eki, I know that you have an event. Maybe if you want to share anything, because there are people watching who we prayed before we started. There are people who are watching that have been through so much, and y'all know I might put you on the spot. So that's part, remember that part of me management where it was just like, be ready, because the best, I did that to Jan one time. I was up preaching and just called her up to the microphone and she was like, what? I think it was me, Kelly, Julie, our whole first class, they flew to San Francisco with me to preach, and I just called her up and gave her the microphone. So y'all know who I am. So pass the mic. We're all going through a lot. Like, people, we're on Zoom, like, because the world is being shut down. I know some people, their industries have been moving regardless. Jackie posted a video and it was so funny, because up top she was like all fly, and then underneath she had some shorts on, because that's just everybody's life right now. But on the real, people are dying. On the real, our political climate is crazy. On the real, people who aren't Christians are wondering if Christianity is just a political thing, because we've had it so intertwined with, with politics right now. And so, speaking to survival, maybe, because I don't want to miss you, Eki, but I don't know, share from just how are you surviving, or how have you believed people are surviving during this time of just pandemic, politics, and pandemonium.
Sorry, gotta unmute. Yeah, I mean, that's the question, right? That we're often, at least I'm often getting, and I think everybody's grappling with. I think the reality is that all of us are suffering from collective trauma because of the last 4 or 5 years of what we've suffered under Trump, and just the heightened political tensions, and then the white supremacy, and then seeing our people being murdered mercilessly, right? Time and time again. And so that's just been that's taken a toll on us as a people specifically. And so for me, what's a big key for me to continue to persist and just to continue to persevere and to hopefully move from surviving to thriving, honestly, has been being able to maintain my spiritual disciplines. So prayer for me is key. Spending time with the Lord, communal prayer, so that's intercessory prayer, right, with prayer partners, really important, and making sure that I'm taking that time to hear from God, to listen, to shut off my phone, so take social media breaks. That's really important for me, particularly in my work, because a lot of my work, I'm sure all of our work really now has to do with social media now. But yeah, I have to do a lot of front-facing social media work as a public theologian. So I take breaks from social media, which is a little countercultural for what I do, but I'm like, I have to do that in order to maintain my peace, in order to maintain my sanity. And then also taking care of myself physically. So working out and eating right, that also helps, because there's, there's
that hard during this pandemic, like especially in March last year, like, because you are blessed with that. You don't have to stress about losing. I used to be little like you one day, and like probably when you first started mentoring. But like, how do you think people turn to food because the trauma?
Witness, okay, because I'm tall, you can't tell when I've gained weight, but trust, I was at my heaviest point actually at the beginning of January. So I've been losing some weight, lost about 11 pounds. We're gonna keep going. I want about 5-10 more pounds I want to drop. But oh yeah, definitely turn to food. I was buying soda. I don't buy soda. I was eating ice cream like crazy, eating cake, because
real life
was off the chain. So I think we just had to cope. And I think we do have to allow ourselves some grace and some latitude, just with regard to just the way things are. Like I was talking to a friend, or I was doing a podcast earlier, and they were talking about how, like, I didn't read as much in 2020 as I normally would. I was actually turning to the TV much more than I was reading. Just in general, just reading, because I was like, it was just too much. It's processing so much. I was like, I just need an outlet to not have to think. And so I think knowing times when it's just like, I just need to ease, I need to settle, I need to have my strong boundaries. So I had to set up boundaries like on the weekend and like protecting this time. Like, no, this is my time, Friday to Sunday. This is the time for me to rest. I don't do emails. I don't do, all that stuff. I will hit you on Monday. And so protecting that time. I've been working from home because I've been working for myself since 2016. So I'm used to working from home. Now I'm not used to being cooped up in the house because I was traveling all the time. So that's an adjustment, but setting those boundaries has been helpful, but maintaining spiritual disciplines has been key for me.
So
I bet you, I honestly can't say that me management, it was definitely foundational, I think, in establishing those things for me too.
Because I hear you talking about discipline. Do you feel like us being together and the time that we were together, do you feel like going, because there's two types of mentoring, guys. It's the formal and informal. So what we tried to do, even before I learned that concept, but I'm really studying it now, is that me management incorporated that formal class, every week class, but informal, get on the phone, text your me management sisters, the other mentees in the group, text your your mentors. Do you feel like that discipline? Because it sounds like you're talking a lot about discipline. Do you feel like mentoring helps you in that way with discipline?
Oh yeah, it helps me because it's also just kind of in me now. It's in me now after being mentored for years. Because remember, I had me management, but then also remember Stephanie Evans? She's still my mentor till this day.
I love it.
She scooped me up when I was a babe in Christ in 2004 and been walking with me ever since. Still.
I love it.
And so she's still in my life. And then I also mentor 2 young women as well, too. So that, so I always have those kind of, checks and balances. And then even with what I do with Truth Table, in some ways, I know a podcast. Say it again.
Can you tell people about Truth Table or where they can find Truth Table? Just a little plug for yourself real quick.
Oh yeah. Okay. So Truth Table podcast is well, it is a ministry. It's a podcast, technically, but it's a ministry. So you can find it on Apple, SoundCloud, Spotify, wherever you listen to your podcast. And so it's a table built by Black women and for Black women. I am one of the hosts alongside my co-host, Dr. Christina Edmondson and Reverend Michelle Higgins. And the three of us are midwives of culture for grace and truth. So we talk about race, gender, issues that pertain to Black women culture and entertainment through a Christian lens. And so we talk about lofty theological concepts down to just your old regular stuff that's going on in the culture. Every now and then we try to filter it, through the gospel. And so we've been doing that for 4 years now. We're going on to our 5th season. So hopefully it'll bless y'all. But yeah.
So now, how many classes you went through Me Management? And for those people that don't know, Me Management is a formal mentoring program where we go through 10 different modules: me and God, me and my emotions, me and my past, me and women, me and men, me and sex, me and marriage, me and success was later added. We did believe that me and church should be added later on. And then within that were exams and memorization. And then you taught. How many classes did you and Jackie were co-teachers? So how many classes did you teach?
Jackers, how many? I feel like it was definitely
2.5. I know you.
2.5.
2.5, right? Yeah.
Yeah, because I moved to Philly in May 2012. So I think I didn't quite finish that class, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's like I had to go because seminary, I had summer Hebrew was starting in June of 2012, or else I wouldn't have, I would have of course tried to push it until the class graduated. But yeah, you're right. It was 2.5.
Oh, well, thank you for sharing. She has her mom is relocating and she might have to jump off. So I just wanted her.
I still have some time, but I had to. Thank you, Pastor.
Okay. Because people are surviving right now. So before we get going into more, I do want to just spotlight some of the first people. I don't know, Simone, if you can go back to everybody on the screen, but I want to spotlight some of the first people because mentoring is opening this door to your life and letting people in. And so it's meeting people at a time of need and sharing, transferring power resources. That definition comes from the Mentor Handbook written by the one and only Dr. Bob Clinton, who is just a mastermind at mentoring. So before I started Me Management, I went to Fuller Seminary and took a class on mentoring, and that definition just knocked me out. It is the transfer of power resources. And so I have Kelly, Jan, Jules, and they are on here. And I would love for them to share because they took a chance. And I think sometimes that we see mentoring as I can only get help from certain people in certain areas. And one thing that I'm learning is that our spiritual development is sometimes the one area where mentoring is not highlighted, because not purposely, but I think because most people think of pastoring, we think of pastoring as being the key thing, which it is. I'm not negating pastoring, but it is that walking together. Oftentimes pastors need people to walk with you. They need people to walk with you. So Me Management started as a parachurch ministry, meaning that we walk alongside the church to add things that the church may need to go down. And so it started with a group of about 13, 14 women, and we were already doing our annual retreat, A Day with God. Then we moved to our monthly meeting, Sisters Inspiring Sisters, once a month on Friday. And then it was like, we need to go deeper. So it is this opening up of your lives. And I just felt that women we had the religious experience down for Christian. I think that for some of us, we had that down. For some of us, we didn't, but we knew, because at that time, I think 20 years ago or so, the Black culture and church mostly all of us were familiar with that. We were at least familiar with church, but now we're starting to get away with that. So you can have a whole crew of people that don't know the process of church, you know? So anyway, we got together and we did this mentoring, and Kelly, Jules, and Jan, I would love for the three of you guys to just share about where we were then, because I know that from the 25 years ago that I started me management to now, I have made mistakes, but my heart was, how can women learn the word and see that the word is applicable to your everyday life? So we had to have a module, me and sex. We had to have a module, me and men. How do I relate to men as brothers, as fathers, as husbands, when a lot of us were fatherless, or we just didn't have direct access to our fathers? And so we had that error, you know, in our lives. And so if you guys could speak to the chance you took on a formal mentoring program. Julie, I remember, Jules, I just remember where you were, and we had the one-on-ones with that one-on-one time with the mentor. And Julie, were we at a restaurant? And I can't remember what happened at the restaurant, but you were like, oh, I said, Jules had been with me all day. And I said, hey, Julie, I got to go dinner with some guys, some of the brothers in my life. So I'm just going to have you come with me. Cause that's what mentoring is, people getting in your life and seeing how you interact. And we went to lunch with some guys, and Julie was like, well, this is crazy. I have never just spent time with men just for the sake of spending time without an ulterior motive. She said, I didn't even know you could do that. Julie was like, so it was funny. So I'm going to shut up, but Jan, Kelly, Jules, if you guys can just share, because you guys took a chance and we literally changed the course of our life. And then these women here and others, you know.
Jan, you want to go first?
Okay, thanks, Julie. So good to see everyone, and love you, Teresa, so much for sharing all those wonderful stories. I would say that for me, I definitely didn't look at it as taking a chance. I looked at it as an investment in my life as a believer. And I think for me, was it 25 years, Teresa? Is that long?
Well, 2004. So
oh,
maybe,
wow.
maybe I'm thinking, I can't add. I'm a teacher, but I may be adding.
That's okay. I think for me personally, I was going through a lot. I think from a self-esteem perspective, and really wanting a close relationship with my father, and just kind of the school thing as well. Teresa, you know about that, and I just felt like I was all over the place, and I needed structure, because to your point, I think we were used to that normal cadence of going to church every Sunday and being at church at 10 a.m. and then you came back for 3 p.m. service. So you did that, and then you went to Bible study on Wednesday. So you were used to kind of the normality of what we call church. Mm-hmm. But I think for me, what was missing was the discipleship and the mentoring. And I really didn't learn about discipleship until I went through me management. And I think for me, that's when I really understood kind of the breadth of what it meant to be a Christian. Because I think you miss that going through the monotony of going to church all your life. You miss the discipleship. And I think for me, being able to get granular into, me and sex and me and church and me, I think we have me and my girls, or me and my friends.
Oh, that's right. Me and women.
Me and women.
Me and women. I think being able to get so granular into those different categories was so beneficial, because even when you think about Bible study, you're going through scripture. But to me, what I loved about it was very relatable. It was life to life. It was digestible. For me, it was every kind of touch point that was going on in my life that I needed to funnel focus on, and we were able to do that. Now, did I apply all of it during that time? No, I didn't, but now I do, because I've grown up. But I know for me management really helped me to get my self-esteem back. But I would also say to understand that my worth doesn't come from anybody else but what the Word of God says that I am. Mm-hmm. And it also reminded me that you have to do life with other people.
Oh, I like that.
You have to. Life is about doing life with other people. And I think that to me was so beneficial to have Kelly there and Julie there, and also just the raw honesty that came out of those let's talk nights. Those were hard. Those were tough for me because I didn't have tough skin back then. But if you say something to me that you said 25 years now, I'll be a little different. But I think for me, I love the life to life with everyone. I love the different modules that got really granular. It was just very beneficial. I really understood where my worth and my value came from. It really came from who God says that I am in his word. And that was it for me. It landed there for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to, I'm gonna I think Kelly was the bully in your class because Kelly would be like, oh, y'all, come on and just say it. Just go ahead and say it.
But I love that though. I love, because I wasn't used to that and I needed my spirit to be uncomfortable. And that's what I love about Kelly. Like, she's never afraid to be honest. And as we got to know each other, over the year, you knew that it was coming from a good place.
Right.
Where it came from a good place because she cared about me. So I appreciate the directness and yeah.
You sure?
Yeah. Yes. I remember some of the things you told me to this day, Kelly. I remember some of the things that you poured into me that was very hard to hear back then, but I still remember a lot of the things that you told me.
Are you okay if we talk about the biscuit?
Why do you guys want to focus on all my stories?
Child, everybody got a story.
That is the truth.
Well, I will have to tell the story. I will tell you guys the abridged version. So I was fasting. We were driving up north with Teresa. She was preaching, and I said I wasn't eating bread. Work in progress. So we got to a restaurant. I was really hungry, and everybody had decided that they were going to help me stay on my fast. But we got to the table, and I was just really hungry, and I went for a piece of bread, and I think Teresa or Kelly snatched it out of my hand, and I just had a snapped moment. I'll just put it that way. I kind of went off on everybody at the table, had some colorful adjectives and words that came out of my mouth, and they ended up giving me the bread back because I wanted it. I was like, I can have bread if I want to. I'm grown. So that's the abridged version of the bread moment. So, yes.
Julie or Kelly?
I think I can piggyback off on Jan. Jan and I grew up in the same church, and it was at Traditional Baptist. So we had the routine, we had the rhythm. And I didn't know what a parachurch ministry was. And so actually it was junior mission. So Jan talked about, Bible study on Tuesday and prayer meeting on Wednesday. Well, we had junior mission on Thursday, and our junior mission actually joined the sis routine because that took us out of the monotony of, the attendance banner and all those wonderful things of the traditional church. And it was really great for me because it was fellowship. Which we had in church to a certain extent, that can happen within the realm of the church. But like Jan said, the rawness is where, the rubber meets the road. What really changed my life and what I thought was really impactful for me was our service checks, because I think we were all at that point where we were building careers and being here in New Orleans, I can say now, looking back, that when you're in California, you're on this, it's like a hamster wheel. Like you got to go, everybody's somebody, everybody's doing something, people got things to do and so on and so forth. There's no sitting on the porch drinking sweet tea like I'm able to do here. But it was really, really just a rat race. And I felt like I had this nomad tendency. I was moving every 2 years, and I was in retail, and I was running Gap stores, and I was moving to this store, that store, this store, that store, promotion, and never had an opportunity to really enjoy life, because it was just, you just don't realize that you're doing and you're not being. And so I think what me management allowed me to do was to be able to sit down and see myself and reflect. The reflection papers, I just noticed today that I did fail my first reflection paper. It was not good. And you wrote on it, you did not dig deep enough.
I did. I told you. I say fail or did, okay.
Like this is, yeah, I expect more. And it's like, okay. But it was me and God. And what I don't think you remember, Teresa, I didn't know what a concordance was. And so I had to go buy one because I wasn't, I had been going to church, but I had not been a disciple of the word and reading the Bible. And so I failed me and God, my first reflection paper. But what happens when you're in me management? If you think about your life and how we compartmentalize, these are my work friends and these are my church friends and this, this, that, and the other. But what these modules do is it allows you to be able to bring it all together in one place, in a safe environment where you can break it down and unpack it, one by one. And then you get to see yourself in the stories of others. And I think that's what was really helpful. And just the service checks, just being able to check in and say, no, I didn't do anything for anyone but myself, because that's just usually how I roll. But then you feel the impact of when you do.
So people can know what you're talking about. And I'm going to talk about some of the Facebook comments in a minute. So if people don't know, we did weekly check-ins and you had to do a service check sometime during the week where you serve somebody outside of yourself, productivity check, something that you did to get your life moving. And there was one more. Does anybody service
Integrity check.
Integrity.
integrity check, a time when you had to show integrity and come up with the real and tell the truth. So Julie said that the service check, Jules was all about that service check, because she was like, look, I work, I ain't trying to take care of nobody else.
Yeah. But I service, what I learned from you, Teresa, and everyone that we were involved with, was just being able to see servant leadership. When you think about who Jesus was as a leader, he was a server. He wanted to make sure that everyone was taken care of. And so I understood that from a customer service manager standpoint, from a business, like I make my sales because I take care of my people because they take care of the customers. Right. But I never internalized it from, this is what we do because we're Christians and this is what Jesus would do. And so I think that was the biggest, one of the biggest impacts for me.
And I love that you are talking about application in your real life, and actually how you have been around. My mother calls it peace. Some people have been around Christ, but they've never really been in Christ. And this is a time where I think me management is good for people who aren't sure about Christianity, because it really puts a challenge and a pressure on Christian faith to see if it's legit, if it can really work in your daily grind. And so thank you for making those life applications. And really quick, we do need to shout out, Sherry Johnson is out there. We need to shout out the San Francisco group, because we had groups of sisters, me management out there in San Francisco. So Sherry Johnson, she said that the class changed my life. I will never forget what I learned. And then I had some of my personal mentees. Tamika Austin is out there. She said, what I've learned from you in my early 20s has taken me beyond miles, has spilled over into my sons. Yet her sons, oh my gosh, I got to share some of the videos. Tamika Austin, her boys, the Austin brothers, you guys may want to check them out online. They do a lot of service in their community, teenage boys, and they have listened to my messages and they send me the outline of their notes. And so it's just so wonderful hearing. And then my brother, Jonathan Merritt, y'all know Pastor Jonathan Merritt is out there. Tori, your brother's out there. He said, I want to know where the men are at. Why are the men not represented? And there was always some men circulating around somewhere. Dr. Jason Plunkett was always around. Jonathan would fly in from Detroit and he was always trying to figure out what we were doing. So thank you, Julie, for sharing. I just wanted to make sure my sister, Rosalind Ballard, she was a me management facilitator. She said that she misses all of you guys and she did the first online class with me. So I just wanted to make sure I share that. So Kelly Kell, goodness. Oh, and by the way, guys, I have my sister Sonia on here because Sonia's going to share in a minute. She's probably going to interrupt Kelly. Sonia was not in me management, but Sonia was my roommate, and I call it a view from the pew, because Sonia was watching the first class and all the stuff going down while it was going down, and she kind of like hovered on the outside. But she spent many years. I mean, she spent her own time in a program similar. So I'm gonna let Sonia share in a minute. But Kelly, why is it that you're always telling me I need to make sure I get back on the me management bandwagon? And I love you, goodness.
Well, it's because just like what Julie was saying, when you're a believer, you kind of get into the rigmarole of being a Christian. You go to church, you look like a Christian, you do, certain things, but you really don't have a real understanding of the anatomy of God. You know what I mean? You're a Christian, but you don't know any scripture to help you fight when it's time. You're a Christian, but you don't have any idea of the personality of God. And I think I got to a place where, you know, just as you get older, you don't want just friends around for no reason. I don't do anything that much anymore haphazardly. Like if, you know, I'm considering, you know, if is this really something where, you know, this is a real connection before I spend my gas money to go somewhere. So I wanted to get to know God and to learn scripture and to know what I believe more. And I think that that's what me management was for me. Like I didn't know any scripture when I came to the program, none. But I was a Christian that had been going to church for many years.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? So you don't really know what you believe.
Yeah.
You're not strong. You're not built up. So, you know, anytime anything came up, somebody could basically blow and you fall over because you're not strong. And I think that that's the thing for me that me management does. It builds up strong believers.
Right.
And you know, when I found out that that's pretty much all we're supposed to be doing as believers anyway, is, you know, the Great Commission. We be
Right.
doing a whole bunch of other stuff, but we're supposed to be building believers,
Yeah.
which is, you know, so cool. And the experience was so difficult. It's a difficult experience because you're stretched in ways that, you know, you can really slide in and out of during daily life. Like you realize that you don't really have, for me, it was sex. Like for me, sex was like a stress reliever or for sport before I got to me management.
Right.
And it caused me to look at my relationship with sex, look at my relationship with my friends, look at my relationship with God. Like if you say you believe this, how are you doing this in this way?
Right. Right. Right.
So I think it just causes you to challenge yourself to be better, to be what you say you are. And I think that's like so invaluable. It's something that I can impart to my children. I've taken that and used it in so many places. Like I feel, you know, your mother is famous for calling somebody on the carpet. Like you'll be a service. Oh, that service was so the bomb. This and that. Oh, really? What verse were they using?
Exactly. She was.
Yeah, I don't even know.
Yeah.
I didn't got caught up in it. I got,
Right.
you know, felt good, cried, the whole nine. Oh, it's gonna be my year. And then don't know nothing else 5 minutes later. I think it really builds you up and makes you strong.
Yes. Yes. That's
So
real.
that's what I got from it.
I love it. I thank you for that because I think the burden now is that it's in some, I told myself I'm going to think of another thing besides Christian because there are some people that have bastardized the term being a Christian or the
You
life
know,
of
I don't call myself that anymore. These people crazy. Come on now. I call myself a follower because whatever that is, I ain't that.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
not. Like, and that's what I love about the program also is that it's not a pretend, you know, because church folks, they like to, I don't come from that. So I don't, you know, I'm not gonna pretend with you. I'm gonna tell you what I think. Just like Jan said, I'm gonna tell you straight up what I think. I'm not gonna be pretending with people and playing. I could play from my house.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
got to come and play games with folks. So that's the thing, the intimacy that's involved in the program is so tremendous. Like I can't underline it enough because we have to challenge ourselves to be better.
That it's,
or at least to be who we say we are.
right. Right. If you're going to claim it, be it.
Correct.
that's just real life, you know. And I think that that is the glory of mentoring one-on-one, but it's also the bigger glory of being in that group. And I've used the phrase, you know, we always got to be careful because people misconstrue what you're saying. I've used the phrase that Jackie and Kelly were the bullies in their group, but what I meant was they weren't afraid of putting that pressure on people. And I think my mom told Jan one time, she said, Jan, listen, if you are not offended or uncomfortable in this discipleship interaction, it is not valid. It's not real, because that is getting us ready. That was probably those of us who got married after that. That is the backbone of close-up relationship. Is
And
that
my husband's mentor says that. He said, I don't know what kind of relationship we have until we have a disagreement.
there you go.
I don't.
Yeah, that's real. Yeah. That's just real. I mean, it's that, you know, I love that I can think about each of you. And if, like, for instance, Jackie, you know, there have been times where she goes, okay, Pastor T, let's look at, I could tell she's like, you didn't do that the best way you could have. Maybe we should do this way, because a lot of times my mom says, she says, Teresa, you know, you're a tree shaker. So it's like you either a tree shaker or a jelly maker. And she said, Teresa, you're a tree shaker. You will get people up and moving, and you'll be thinking about the details later. And so Jackie was the jelly maker a lot of times for me, where she's like, girl, you done shook this tree, and now we got to look at what just fell on the ground and what we do. I'll be like, oh, okay, yeah.
And
So
there's room for both.
yes. And I think that's the glory of all of us. And all of us can probably say in those moments, and there was sometimes this undercurrent of trepidation that I had of, you know, wanting to push people to be the best, like writing a fail on Julie's paper, like you can go deeper, because mentoring should be about us going deeper. So Jackie, I don't know, like, and you know what, and real quick, Jackie, I think that's why I wanted Sonia to be on here, because Sonia was like on the outside looking in. And she used to, I remember one time I would come home and she said, well, you know, all y'all crazy. And I would just start laughing. Cause Sonia was like, look, I know all y'all need to just come on, let's go eat. Cause y'all, this is just y'all deep. But it's that walking together with people. It is just, that's what Pastor Frank Wilson always told me from a little girl on up. He told Tori Knowles, like, you are walking together. Let's do life together. And that's what this is. So Jackie, I don't know if you want to share about that component of being like how you flipped the script and then you became a facilitator. So you went through it, and then you go on to mentor, and that's a different type of responsibility. You, London, Eki, you guys kind of all worked on that piece together.
Yeah, it's, you know, when you, and it's funny because I say that me management was like, I really could see how God inspired the Bible, because it was such a Holy Spirit, you just felt, you know, God in and throughout that whole program. And so again, just want to thank you and honor you for that. And so because I found me management so powerful, I was like, everybody needs this. And that's just the type of person I am. When I find something good, I'm gonna tell everybody about it. Like, you need to know about this. And so to go from being mentee to mentor, it's a lot of growing up. You know what I mean? Because you're still managing your own emotions, right? It's like, it's like you can't teach that program without having gone through it yourself, because forbid that you are actually processing in front of, like, the girls are already processing the stuff themselves. And then, not saying that as mentors, you're not processing too, but don't let it be your first time, you know, taking that Band-Aid off and dealing with some deep, you know, real stuff. But to be able to, you know, really just love, you know, on the women, and to really, oh Lord, you know, allow them to work your last good nerve, you know what I mean? And still come back the next week and show up.
Mm.
There has to be a level of pruning in development in your own life. And so, yeah, I mean, I was grateful for, you know, to be able to go through the class, and grateful to be able to, you know, walk with, you know, some of the women. Monica is one of the girls that came through our class. I can't remember if it was me, Kim, and Darshell for you, Monica. I don't remember, but and then, you know, Eki and London and I, we had classes together. I mean, there's just so many memories and moments that you have with these women, and you know that you may be that person in that season for that person's life, and it's God ordained, and it's purposeful.
Jackie, you did something, you changed something in me management that I didn't do, but I think it was powerful. So with, y'all, my heart is, oh, y'all want to do mentoring? Come on and be in the next me manager group. So Jackie, how did you do it? Because you didn't let everybody in your class. You did interviews or something? Like, how did
Oh,
you?
okay. So, well, because so we were, at a big church, and so many people wanted mentorship, but you can't, let me not say you can't. Let's just say back then the thought and the idea is small, intimate setting. Because it's funny how you did me management online, and now that's like people are doing all kinds of mentorship online. That was very
Ahead of the
forward
curve,
thinking.
that's all.
Right. But we're like, no, we need that weekly dinner. We need that meal. We need to see your face. I need to hear you breathing just right or wrong, be able to call you out on whatever that is that's going on. But we did where they wrote a paper about why they wanted to be in me management, because we had to find some kind of a way
Gotcha.
to filter out the women, and because we couldn't do everybody at once. And so in our class, see, you were doing it just solo. Our class, we had 3 women. And
Gotcha.
and I'm sure London and Darshell and Neki will say it was even just trying to be over 3 women each. That was just, ooh, that was a lot.
You guys did
Uh,
3 mentors over a class, and each mentor mentored 3 people on a deeper level within that class.
we did, and we rotated it. So we did where like, okay, your check-in was going to be with, London for this month. And then we'd rotate the women around. And it was interesting because you found that some women began to develop close ties and relationships with one. Like I remember Kim had Darshell first, and she didn't want to move on to the next, which was me. And I guess she didn't like me, but now she's my sister. You know what I'm saying? So it's funny how, and then you eventually, once you kind of go through the 3 women, then you kind of just figure out who, it just naturally settles who's going to be really, walking alongside with the women. But yeah, that was the different thing that we did was actually writing why you wanted to be in me management.
I love that. I think, and I actually, and that's funny because Laura, that's how I ended up interviewing you to find out if you should be in the group, because I learned from Jackie. So we learned that one-on-one. I was learning from you guys what worked and what didn't work. And, they ain't feeling this. And does this really, even if they're not feeling this, is this vital, And I know how like some people used to take the midterm exam and the final exam and do the scripture memorization, like, oh, this is hard. And I'm like, look, the real test ain't gonna come for another 5 years when you live this thing, but this is just to get you ready for what life is gonna test you after this is over, So and I have to shout out two people. I have to shout out Pastor Andrea Humphrey and her husband Charles Humphrey, because they let us come into their church and they really allowed me management to be an instrument in their ministries. I just want to thank them for that. And then, a couple of people, Pastor Mark Copeland in the Bay Area, he literally flew me up to his church every single week to run a class because he believed in it. And he is the one that said, look, we need to do this for men. And he really felt that the first thing we kick off is me and God. And I'll never forget Pastor Mark picking me up from the airport, and I was going to teach the first class at his church. And he said, Teresa, the concept of God getting saved, and I think this is kind of what Kelly was saying, getting saved that we taught, and then God becoming your salvation after that, and then living out that salvation, that is something that he said the church need more people. So I just wanted to thank those people for just really believing. And then in memory, we had a me man before, I think before Jackie really took the handle of that torch of me management. Robin Hill, she's passed away now. She ended up, Jamila's class was the last class she impacted. And she was struggling during that time and we couldn't figure out what it was going on. But unfortunately, she had a brain tumor and she passed away. But we will never be able to talk about me management without talking about her being an instrument to just make sure that a lot of other young women got that, and like Kelly and other people shared, just allowing people to get up and close and personal As we share, because I don't want this to be like an advertisement, I really want to talk about the fact that, and London touched on this, there are some keys that we talked about and I want other people to walk away with. But right now, I shared on the video that I got COVID during this season. Being a mom, my husband and I, Abraham and Sarah, we got pregnant at 2,000 years old and had a baby. So it's just, that's crazy. But anyway, we became teachers because we're trying to get involved in her life and figure out what the heck we're doing. And it's ministry, it's just ministry in another way. But being teachers and being in the education realm, I did contract COVID, and it is no joke. I know some people are not as sick. Some people are very sick. Some people are in the hospital. I have lost 2 friends last year to COVID. So every day that I am able to think clearly, I thank God, because one of the things that COVID really hit me hard with was the clarity of thought. I was so tired at sometimes and so foggy in my brain. I honestly remember one time not saying anything to my husband, but I was like, oh my God, I can't remember or I can't think through something. I just really can't process. So I didn't even tell a lot of people. I think I finally texted Tori and Sonia and some other people, were like, look, I just want you to know, because look, people are passing on, and I need y'all. I told Jan, I was like, I just need you to know I got COVID, and but I caught it in school, just going into the building to make some copies, go figure. And but it's just a season right now where we need each other. So our actions, how are we going to act when we hear about some stuff? What is our interaction with each other going to look like? And then what are our reactions? So if this were to be, which like a follow-up, please, let's all just kind of take that there is a mandate on our actions. There is a mandate on how we interact with people, whether they believe what we believe, whether they are like us or whatever it is, because politically politics has put a strain on our relationships, but just being African American has put a strain. How do you translate to people in your life who are not African Americans that you're afraid at night when your husband goes to the store? Because in his mind he's running to the store, but in all actuality it's just so crazy, you just don't know what's going to happen. And the publicity of men dying is a real life that we've lived with. So how do you translate that without you sounding like an angry Black woman or whatever? So that's why I asked. So just remember that in our actions, reactions, and interactions. How do you help somebody? A friend of my, one of the women who mentored me when I was young is in the hospital right now with COVID, and it's not looking the best, but we are believing God for it to be the best. So how do we help people right now? And even if you never became a mentor, official mentor after me management, there is a mandate on us to post the hard things and to be the light in this darkness. So just keep that in mind. And I felt that is why we needed to speak to people. People needed to know that we have my sister-in-law said it this way, and then I'm going to pass and shut up and pass it to Monica or somebody in London. Okay, so my sister said it this way. My sister in love, I like to call her in love, not in law, but she's the reason why I'm married, because sidetrack, she's the one that saw me and told me about my husband. But she's a Delta. She's hardcore Delta, like campus queen. She's just like that chick. I see you, Jan, and I married a Delta family. My husband's an Alpha, but both of my sister-in-laws are Deltas, and my mother-in-law is a Delta. My sister is a Delta. So it's just Delta. My aunt is an AKA, so they're in there too. But I'll never forget, we were talking about the vice president, and I was like, well, I know Vice President Madam Kamala Harris is an AKA. She said, honey, let me tell you something. We all AKAs right now. She said, it's like we win. We all AKAs. And that concept is real. Oh wait, that's right. Simone, you're a Delta too. I forgot. But it's that concept of, yes, Deltas and AKAs are supposed to be like this, but when one wins, we all win. So that statement lived with me. We're all AKAs right now. Okay. So we are all mentors right now. We are all covering people right now. We're all pouring into people right now. We may not be in official titles, but we are all have a platform right now where we are speaking to people, and you might be the only light that somebody can see during the day when their mind cannot handle this shutdown. Like your kids, you would be surprised at some days this whole thing gets deep. And I know some people are like, oh, well, it's almost a year. We're just doing what we got to do and we go out and go. No, sometimes even then it is just the pressure is overwhelming. So it's our actions, reactions, and interactions. So London, maybe you want to share what you said about what you're teaching your kids. Because Kelly even said to me one day, she was like, I could use, this is for kids too. So you mentioned something about what we learned about.
Yes, I think for me, the most impactful portion, you could say hi, say hi. Hi.
Hi.
The most impactful portion of me management, among other things, but this was the emotional management process. I think kids do need to learn how to stop in the middle of a tantrum. You know, I mean, obviously age appropriately, but stop.
Mm-hmm.
And let's set the standard or objectify, right? Take yourself out of it. Set the standard and change.
Mm-hmm.
And the set the standard part is the part about finding a word that's going to help you through whatever it is that you're feeling. If you're feeling anxious, if you're feeling worried, if you're tired, if you can't stand them, if you don't want to hear from whoever, whatever that is, that setting the standard is a part that I think it was Kelly who was saying this. You don't know no word, can't stand up, you know, to nothing, can't fight through anything because you don't stand up. The standard is not set for you. You don't have a standard, which is the word of God.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, I got my kids at home, you know, I'm a teacher as well, but they got to learn the word, you know, because we're not going to a church building, right? And places don't have a kids' church. So we are the ones who set that standard for them. So when they are doing something that is not okay, then we take that pause and we stop and move from there.
Mm-hmm. Set a standard and
Set a standard and change. Because if we don't, then I think, especially now, because our kids don't have the social emotional development that they were getting when they were in school. So a lot of parents are not able to do that for their kids right now because they're just holding on themselves.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's been a big thing for me in the middle of this pandemic, but it's also something that we learned so long ago, 2000, whatever it was back then, to be able to take that and then use it for myself. And then take it to the next generation and give it to my kids to be able to use. And they're 2, 4, and 6 right now. So they're still really young. But I feel like the earlier they learn it, you know, the better off they'll be when they get to, I was 22 when I did me management.
Was everybody in their 20s when they did it? Was anybody in their 30s or was everybody in their 20s when they did it? I mean, you don't have to tell your age, but you know, I think
I was in my 30s.
Okay. Pastor Kelvin in LA said something to me one time. He said, Teresa, let me tell you something. Management really should be done in your 20s because you hit a place in your life where you can't change. I agree and I disagree. I understand the concept because we used his facility at one point for the class, but I feel like in our 30s, we still need to be able to do that emotional management process. In our 40s, we still need to be able to change. In our 50s, you know, we have to be able to shift it. And I think that's what's so crazy about this pandemic. It has taught us all about our own personal tantrums that we are, you know, have been having because we all like, okay, I am over all this, or I'm sick of this, and da 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 da, you know, whatever, you know. So thank you for that. I know that some of you guys got to go, but I do want to just give Sonia. So Sonia and I love her. So Sonia.
Don't tell these stories. Don't tell these stories, Teresa.
I'm glad y'all ain't gonna be my friends no more. I remember one time we were all in day with God, and Sonia, it was over, and we stayed an extra night because Sonia used to oversee some stuff. And Sonia and I were listening to some, we were, I don't know, but we were on a drink, and Sonia and I were singing some oldies, and Kelly goes, oh, there y'all go. music and y'all just singing, but Sonia just has my heart. But Sonia and I talked the other day, and Eki, one of the things that we said, which London talked on, and we were like, church as we know it, churches are going to have to change. Like we cannot expect. So education and church, they got to change. And I think both are under attack right now. Schools have got to change. It's not just about us getting back in session. It is about, we have to change our system. I believe that the church has to change their system. And that's what one of the things Sonia, as an outside person, as a person who did her own mentoring program, and she actually lived in a house with the people in her program. But could you just share something before we
unmute, I think. Am I mute? Am I okay? Can you hear me? Okay. Couple of things. Teresa McFadden, Ordell, your new name is Ordell. I'm so used to Teresa McFadden, loves the unlovable. Loves the unlovable. And that's the one thing I will say about her. In all the years that I've known her, Teresa just, she loves the kid down the corner, to the stray dog, to the cat. And I don't have that quality, so I commend her for that very much. And she has been consistent with that. So her starting me management, her doing these things, none of that surprises me at all, because she has always wanted to see people do better and be in a better place. So this program, it had to be her, to actually do it. Out of the women who I have seen go through the program, Tori, you didn't actually go through it, did you? Did you actually go through me management, or were you this? I couldn't remember. Okay, the second year. Okay, I couldn't remember if you did, but. And knowing all of these ladies, I think over 20 years for most, Tori and Teresa, maybe 30 years, and just knowing them, seeing their growth, seeing how me management has changed and developed them over the years, it definitely can't say anything. It was a needed program. It was a necessary program. Did we do it perfectly? Did everybody live it perfectly? No. But did it change lives for the better? Yes. I look at Julie, strong, powerful woman of God to this day. Jan, strong, powerful woman of God. Kelly, I don't know about her sometime, but that's a whole nother level of something. But I love you, Kel. But I all I can say is that to see where these women started, and I think some started in their late 20s, some started in their 30s, somewhere in their early 30s. Excuse me, one moment. I'm sorry. Turn off this spacer. But just to see how they've grown over the years, it's been a remarkable time, and so grateful for that. And I forgot what I was supposed to be touching on. I'm sorry, what?
Look, I'm trying to help. Do you think that people have to change what we see about church and how we get our Christian life and how we keep it on point right now?
I think so. I think we actually really probably need to go to little group settings like this, especially now since we're now in a virtual world. I think people need this to kind of check in, make sure they're okay, make sure that things are going well in their lives, and to be able to still be able to get the word. I mean, everybody's mostly doing church virtually now. You're not able to really get into the building. So I think little micro units like this, micro meetings like this would definitely be helpful to just help people get through life right now. Life is in a different place. Everybody's in a different place, and everybody's trying to figure out what the next move is. Okay, I don't know if I should make this move because I don't know if I'm going to be able to even do it. It's just like, okay, yeah, I want to plan a trip, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to travel. So, it's in this unknown, so much unknown. Of course, getting back to our core, getting back to the word it's a must. how we do it, I think groups like this and sessions and mentoring sessions and small Bible studies and things like that, kind of like what we were doing with system, what we were doing with management, would definitely be helpful in that.
Now, I know Monica, before we go, I do want to say this. One is that even though it's been some time, I felt that it was time for me to sit down and publish me management, but also revamp it. So I know I'll be calling on you guys and all the other women that couldn't make it tonight to just ask you, what do we need to do? Because it has to get out. So much so that I started my doctoral program, and my specific research is on mentoring millennials, young adults who are leaving. The research is showing that they are leaving the church in massive percentages, and they're becoming the religious nun, is what they call it, where they are not affiliated with any faith. There's just a lack of trust. So that is what that's what I'm starting to see. And we need mentors. So there are plenty of people. One of my professors said it, when she gave me some feedback on some stuff, she was like, Teresa, there are plenty of people to be mentored, but there's not enough plenty of people to be mentors, but there's not enough mentors. Dr. Clinton, who is like my contemporary mentor, because, we talked about the 9 types of mentors. So he even said mentoring is needed, but there's just not enough people. So I love that people are doing it in their own way. So let me shout out, I love that Eki is doing it in the podcast environment. I love Jackie has a business. She is just blowing up over there, VP. She's teaching people how to get their credit together. So she's in finances. Sonia is the investment guru of life. She's doing her thing. And so we mentor in our field. So we become marketplace missionaries, is what Billy Graham called it. Where in your field, you become a missionary, where you teach people where you are. Okay. So London mentioned, hey, I'm a teacher. But I'm also teaching my kids. Laura has a master's in education too. And she's a dance diva, but she's also finding ways to touch her life there. And it was so funny. Me and Grace are watching Christmas movies, and she saw Kelly. We watched Kelly's Christmas movie. And so Kelly is leaving that legacy in film and in her world of acting. And Grace was able to see it. And I thank God that there's somebody of substance like Kelly doing movies, because we know I could trust the storyline without watching it first, because I know that her heart, and she has kids. And so many of you guys are doing so many things. Jan is in film, and Tori is the budget queen. She will tell you what to do with some money. Let me tell you, Simone is in education. I mean, you guys are doing your thing. And so it's all about promoting you guys. And I just love seeing your faces out there in social media. I think somebody in Jackie's class or Eki's class, somebody ran for office that was in me management. Somebody I saw that they were copied on our thing. Somebody ran for office, I think in Florida. I'm not sure, but she ran for a seat. So I saw her promos online this week. So Jamila, Darsha, anybody who wants to jump in before we go? I know this won't be the last time, but I love that that Kelly, Jackie, so many of you guys have put pressure in the area of, hey, let's keep it going. So me management, I'm working on publishing it, but I wanted to get the kinks out, and I wanted to do it right. Who has time to go back to school? Nobody, but who needs what I did, because I am not about doing nothing raggedy. So I was like, I got to go get this data together, so that, because anything you do with Christ, with his name on it, you got to be ready to be questioned and taken apart by people who don't believe this thing. And I need to prove that in 20 years of coaching people according to scripture and mentoring people, that this is a legitimate field that should be studied and that needs to be studied. And that's one of my reasons for putting my all into it, is that I am trying to prove that. And so thank you guys for your love.
Pastor T,
yeah.
Really quick, can I just highlight Darshell? Because I always would tell people Darshell is the real MVP in me management, because I'm the type of person, like, I want to walk with you, but for a little bit. Like Darshell, I'm being honest. I'm just being honest. But Darshell will be the one. Let me get out of here because I know it's an echo. But Darshell would be the one who would walk with the women, check in, because you know she would check in with them on a regular. But Darshell is now working for Zoe, and she's going to be overseeing. Now I might have it wrong, Darshell, but you can hop in. But Darshell's going to be overseeing these young women who have been rescued from human trafficking, and so it's so fitting for her because she walked with women in me management in ways that like I just didn't have the capacity to do so. But that is what she does, is she really walks with people. So I just wanted to one, highlight Darshell because she just got this promotion and she's going to be taking that over like any day now once they get approvals and stuff. But that's it.
And please know, you guys, here's our thing. If you need somebody on the East Coast, we got Simone and Eki. If you need somebody on the West Coast, if you need your credit fixed, y'all need to call Jackie. If you need, but Zoe International, is Zoe International? Is that the proper name, Jackie?
Darshell, is that the proper name? I think it's Zoe International, I believe. Yes, right, Darshell?
That deals with
now, this your job.
Come on, push it, because
Yes,
you know
that is correct.
y'all better be able to push yourself.
Yes, that is correct. And so I did want to say one thing before we got off. One major thing I learned in me management is, you know, that scripture in Proverbs 27:4. It says, "Wounds from a friend can be trusted, but an enemy multiply kisses." Yeah. Because especially in this time, you need people who will tell you the truth, who will encourage you, who will support you, the good, the bad, the ugly, whatever it is, to not judge you, but to show grace and to show mercy. That's what's needed today. And I think that's what will bring the millennials back. If they have people who will not just hear them, but really listen to them and speak to what they're hearing, not just come up with ideas or, you know, beat them over the head with scriptures. No, we have to learn how to love them even where they're at, and speak to where they're at and let them know that it's acceptable to be where they're at until they get to where the Lord wants them to go. And I learned that from Ekamini. I learned that from even Renee, who's not on the phone. I learned that from London. I still remember a story London told me about. I was a house that I had all these doors and windows. I would just open them a little bit, but I wouldn't let people in. I'm still working on that, London, but thank you. Jackie, and even Teresa, when you came to the class at the church, Robin, because I knew Robin for years, just a group of women and a caliber of women that came through, who went through me management, who cried on me management on Tuesdays, who stayed up late nights, who got up early mornings. People even drove 3 hours to be a part of the me management class. That's the impact that it had on people's life. And it actually allowed me, based on the timeline, you know, the timeline that you made us do, where we had to talk about specific periods and times of our life. That's where I realized that I had the leadership abilities, because in every situation, sometimes it wasn't so good, but it helped me realize that I had leadership in me and qualities. So that's one of the major things that I learned with me management. So yeah, that's pretty, and the 101s. Yeah, Aggie was my 101. She took me hiking and almost killed me. But yeah, that's the only thing I want to say about me management. So thank you guys.
Yeah. Oh, I love you guys. Well,
I wanted to interject really quickly. I think my experience with you is a little bit more unique, because I met you when I was a teenager. And so like, yeah, you came to my church during that time, the teen retreat, and you tore it up. Like, we was like, who is this? You know? And so like in my 20s, I was doing a teaching program, long short. I was like, God, I need something else. Like, because I mean, I was young adult in the church. I was still doing this teaching program, but I knew I needed more. And I was like, Pastor T. So I Googled her real quick, and I was like, let me go ahead and check her out. And so that year that I left that teaching program and I continued on with my master's, that's when I started me management. And I would say in its entirety of what me management has done for me is being the beauty of being self-aware. And I feel like when you think about the different modules that me management has, I believe those are benchmarks in our life. Like, how are you with God? How are you with your emotions? How are you with, you know, those sister connections that you have? Are you being catty right now? Are you being petty? What's going on here? You know, are you showing love? How are you all with men? So I just feel like it's a good benchmark to see where you are and how you continue to grow and evolve. And I do agree with the fact of having me management
having it throughout the different quartiles of your life, from childhood all the way up to adulthood is needed, because when we think about what we've gone through in this pandemic, it really has impacted us socially and emotionally, right? That social emotional learning piece. And I feel like that's across all ages. So I just feel like having that in place, having that mentorship in place is very key, because in a sense, not so much about having like the pastoralship of it, but just having like that accountability to be like, where you at, how you doing? And I feel like I've had that throughout my life with you, with even some of the churches that I've been to. Having that discipleship group is very key and very invaluable because of that discipleship, that one-on-one, getting into the deep of the dick. What's really going on? Why you got the attitude? What's the reason why you got the attitude? It wasn't just because you're a boss, but happened at home. Did it trigger something when you was a kid? How he said it made me want to hold on. I heard my daddy say that when I was 5. I don't like that. So it really gets to the nitty gritty of really to the root of why we are the way we are.
And we will roll our neck, won't we? Talking about why you got to be all like we will go there. Don't get in our business. And that's what it is. It just is what it is. Simone, you wanted to say something before we headed out?
Yes, I just wanted to shout out to the first group where we were the first virtual online class. And one of the things when I brought my book down, one of the things that I caught my attention was this. I don't know if you guys can see that.
Yes. It was like, check let me pin that real quick, because that was it right there. Check your pride when you log on. Real life.
In real life, real talk. And Shonda Hughes is my cohort. She was on here. She's on live watching us. Hi, Shonda. And I don't know where Jody or Latasha, but we were the last of. We had a group, but it, you know, it was meant to be the small group that it was, because we were able to build relationships and things like that. And
isn't it crazy how we did that like almost 10 years ago, and now that's the only way to really, do stuff now online.
Isn't that crazy? And so when I saw this, I was like, we need to change this to say, check your pride when you log in.
Yeah.
You log in. And so to God be the glory. I am so much better for it. I was just real 30 seconds. My testimony was, at that time was 2009, 2010. I was pretty much, I don't want to say homeless, but I was houseless. And because of death and grief that I was dealing with, Teresa, that helped me with my grief, because I lost my mother. And then because of that, and I didn't know how to grieve, I was all over the place. I quit my job and I lost my apartment, and this class helped me transition from that time period, getting a new job where I'm at now. I've been here since, it's going to be 11 years, actually next month, to where I am now. And I bought my house in 2014, all because of this class.
I straight remember when you lost your place, and your house is so fly. I need you to be my interior decorator. Like, God just gave this girl back. She is Job up in here, honey. She got that and some more. I just need that couch and that painting on your wall. Really. God hooked you up. I love it.
Yeah, so to God be the glory, how you have to stay, with this class and dealing with all the modules, me and finances, me and all these other things, just stay faithful. And how how God is just so awesome, because some of the things that you all brought up, how it all came out in my life and I didn't even pay no attention to it. I was like, oh, we were in, God just births, or he instills, he puts roots in us. He abides and he remains in us. And then when it's a time for us to flourish, all that we have learned, it just comes out. That's just how so awesome. The oil was on this program. And I hope that you take this program, do it virtually, however God leads you to do it virtually, and impact the world. You mentioned about there's not enough mentors. Again, you and I had this conversation when you had your mentor class a couple of weeks ago. I believe there's enough mentors, but as long as we understand what that is and what mentoring means, I think you will be able to, because people mix mentoring with coaching.
Mm-hmm. And they're different levels.
It's a different level. And I think once you decipher, everybody wants to be a coach. There's so many people who wants to coach you. No, I don't want you to coach me. I need to be mentored. Or I want a mentor. So I'm blessed by it. I was mentored by you and Mother T, and I was able to mentor other young ladies in the marketplace ministry. So I just want to share that.
And look, I'm gonna do my own advertisement. One of the things I talk about in Coaching You, which is a book I wrote after Me Management, are the spiritual journey development, the 4 steps. So you are getting mentored, you're getting pastored, you're getting discipled, you're getting coached. There are 4 different steps. So it's going to get deeper. You should see a progression on your journey. So thank you for that, because coaching and mentoring are different and discipleship is even different. So, we should expect that. I need y'all to text me or email me. I am going to do a class this fall. It's going to be an online me management class. The concept is that different people will teach different modules so that none of us get overwhelmed. So I want to assign 2 people to one module. And then that way I can come and teach. Jackie used to always have me come and teach me and sex, but I want to do the class, oversee the mentors, train mentors, and then different people can teach a module. So if you don't have a lot of time, but you could do 4 weeks, then you will teach me and my emotions, or you will teach me and my past, or me and women, or me and men. So be prepared for that. If you want to be a mentor and a coach, and you can't commit to 10 months, that's okay. You could commit to a module, okay? And we could pair each other up, because we need to do this. And if we have more people, then we can, but I know that there's people out there that need to know that there is life in God outside of the church, okay? And that's, Monica, you quiet, girl?
Yeah.
What you gonna say?
That's
Hold your hand up, girl. Hold that hand up. Hold that. Bam! Somebody just got engaged. I knew I liked him when you first met me, introduced him to me.
I know, I'll never forget that. Pastor Darrell truly embarrassed me. So
all red though. Go on, girl.
Thank you so much for doing this, especially in this new season that I'm in. I was when I first saw the email, I was extremely happy to see it. I think that accountability is something that I will always seek out because of me management. Before that, I don't think I was seeking out accountability. At the time, strong people tend to just sit there and take things because they know they'll get through it eventually. But I think what my biggest impact with me management was becoming just changing the story from victim to victor, and looking at things from just a different reality. So I just really appreciated my time with Darshell and Jackie and Kim, and also just to see their relationship form during that time really was a testimony just to how we can form godly relationships with other women. And we saw them fight it out, and we fought out within the group on a lot of different things. So I just think that the whole entire concept of me management is something that truly changed the trajectory of my life for sure. I think that the whole entire, I really credit it to Jeffrey. Jeffrey's my fiance's name. And I asked him one day, I was like, what made you choose me? He's like, one of the reasons that you are all around just good woman. And I literally just looked back at me management and my transformation during that time, releasing a codependent relationship. I was actually going through being houseless too, and finding my own legs and stability. And, to a point for your, maybe I can give you some insight as far as like the millennials. I was in my 20s then when I was taking it, but if I didn't have this interruption with me management, I don't think I would be one of the people looking to be in any church. I'm a pastor's kid and all these things, and coming from Indiana to a big city, I was very trusting. But what you helped groom in me was to figure out what is trustworthy, and what is integral, what is servant leadership, what does that really look like? So I just want to thank you and thank all the women on here for even just sharing and being the ones before us. I think we were the last me management class here in Los Angeles before, in the San Fernando Valley, at least, before the shift and everything. So just meeting you at a date with God, I'll never forget that transforming experience that I had. I went down and never came back up the same, and I haven't reverted back to that. So I'm just incredibly grateful for this mentorship, and just the woman that I've become today, and leading other women and young women that have come after me now has just been amazing for me. Yeah.
I love it. Well, next time that we do I know we've been over time. the next time we get on, we specifically want to talk about me and my past. I feel like, I want to get back on. So tell some of the people in your crew that we will do this next month. We want to talk specifically about me and my past. What did you have to overcome in those steps of me and my past? And we could kind of hit on some things or whatever. I'm working really hard to partner with Eki, and I just want to pray elevation into you, not for the purpose of being seen, but I want to pray that you will elevate your emotional state most of all, because that's for first and foremost. But I also pray that God will elevate you so that stable Christians can be seen in the world. Okay, that is just like a real concern to me right now, is that stable Christians can be seen, right? I mean, I'm like, we need some stable Christians. And so if God can use you in your field, and that's why I really want to promote what you guys are doing individually, is because, and I really love, like Jamila, you've been really great on social media. I love what you kind of took on. I don't know if you did this purposely, but she kind of took on over this COVID year. I saw this thing on Instagram in your account where I don't know if it was a purposeful, but if it wasn't, it really looked like you were very strategic in tackling hard things, and being willing to say things about our race and politics, and speaking, because we should all have friends in different races. We cannot be in an African American bubble. We got to be out there. But before we close out, Jamila, can you just close out on that and just?
Of course. Yeah, 100%. I was like, well, I won't talk if I don't. But yes, ironically, what I was thinking the whole time, thinking about me management, is the level of a safe space to access vulnerability, to have a safe space to be able to, because vulnerability was not something that was invited in my home. And so to become an adult, you don't realize the traumas that you hold with you, and the secret sins that you just feel so shamed to even utter out loud, that you could never say it. And it was in me management that I realized that the level of vulnerability in a safe space really taught me that I brought that level of vulnerability everywhere I went. And I told the Lord, if you brought me through it, then I'm gonna make sure that I voice it. One, because it gives him glory, but most importantly, that it gives him glory, but also to let anyone know that there is nothing too far, too wide, too dangerous to tackle, that he is not able to just really, put his hands on. And I do believe that, one, he lets us fail in small spaces, right? So that in those bigger spaces that we have that.
I like that. What'd you just say? He lets us fail. Say that again.
Yeah, I think it was Pastor Robinson, Paul Robinson. He said that God allows us to fail in small spaces, that he loves us enough that he won't, he'll have us tackle things that are vulnerable in a small space, so that if God grants us access to, a larger crowd, to say more to more people, that it's like he's safeguarding us, that we can fall, in a crowd of two, so that we can share the falling with more. I remember how alone I felt after I miscarried in 2008, and it was the level of vulnerability that I felt empowered in me management, that I was able to really every community group I have had since, every friend group I've had since, it was like this random, okay, I'm talking to Christians, I know it's not random, but this release of a weight lifted, this shift of like, that I can trust God with, whatever it was, and so this last year, specifically in 2020, I was very adamant about sharing the uncomfortable things. So if it meant, being one of the two Black people, in a suburban church, then I'm gonna share, okay, why I love my white friends, allies. I want you to be an ally. Why are you silent in this moment? And having those conversations privately with friends who now felt that I was a safe space to say, okay, I can share my dumb white questions, which are not dumb white questions, of course, right? But in their mind, they're like, I don't want to annoy you. I don't want to feel like, I'm making things worse by sharing this, but what are your thoughts about this? I got a lot of like secret like calls, like, so can we talk about, I'm not a public person, but can I talk to you about, can I sit down? I've had so many lunches and I just think it's, anyways, but I think it's really important. Yeah, because I mean, that's my heart's desire when it comes to just women and worth and value and our value and our identity not being wrapped around the things we do, even the things of the Lord, but in him. Like to me, that's the best thing of 2020. The best thing that COVID exposed was the priorities, the things that actually really matter, and all the peripheral stuff that kept us busy forced us to sit and no longer be numb on a lot of different matters. It forced us to really remember what's important and who's important.
Yeah. Well, I love it. I just totally want to respect your time, and I want to get back together again, but I just want to thank you guys for trusting the ministry. Because I think Sonia said it best. Was it done perfect? No. But did it help people? Yes. And I think that ultimately, when I look back, I have spent time, and Jackie being vulnerable, Jackie has seen me, I have spent way too much time focusing on the negative repercussions of, oh, I should have done this, and oh, I should have, and I wish, and oh, can I go back? And God was like, it's all about moving forward, because the goal was to bless people. And if people should see you fall in like in small spaces, as you said. So I love you guys. We are definitely going to do me and my past next. And then Kelly, me and Tori are coming to DC March. We're coming March 7th, so we got to get together. Sonia, I sent Tony the dates, March 7th, Simone. So anyway, I just love getting together with you guys. And don't forget, when you mentor people, eat with them. Y'all remember that was a rule in me management. It is having a meal is an amazing time to expose, and to break bread with people is a time that you pull people in. So when you can, Jamila mentioned going to have lunch with her white friends that had questions. Eat with people, because people's guards drop. So that was, we always had dinner together when we did me management first, because eating is fellowship and it is a time of opening up. And that is why in scripture, you saw Jesus having dinner with tax collectors and sinners and people that were of a different place, because eating takes that guard down. So make sure that you spend time with people and you build those relationships. Like Jan said, we had a fight over bread at dinner, but it is that time where we have that moment. So thank you guys for allowing me to cut into. I hope that you guys will join me the next time. I hope that we can go get them, people. We got to go get people. People are out here thinking that Christianity is not what it has been so represented. And I'm with Kelly. I'm a follower of the way, as they say in the book of Acts, because there's a way to live, and it is real. It is real. And it's not about the religiosity, but it is a relationship of it. So thank you guys for logging in. We have no idea who heard. We have no idea who we touched, but I really hope that you guys will consider being mentors in the future. Pray so that I can get this out correctly and we can leave a legacy, so that when we die and all our names are in this book, people are going to be like, who were these women that laid this groundwork? And it is us. We did it. We are doing it. We're touching lives. Like I said, I pray elevation over you in all of your areas, that the blood of Christ will cover your families, that y'all don't get sick. Please don't get sick. I know I'm stressing people out, because my sister, it was like, girl, if you don't sit down somewhere, I'm trying to stay home, but I didn't get COVID till I went down the street. Y'all, I didn't get it on a plane or nothing. So anyway, y'all stay safe. And I love you, Father, in the name of Jesus. Breathe on them. Breathe on Simone. Breathe on Tori. Breathe on London and Kelly, Jamila, Julie, Darshell. Breathe on Sonia, Laura, Jam, Monica, Laura, JC, Jackie, Eki. Breathe on those women that couldn't come. Breathe on Joy. Breathe on all those different cohorts and mentoring groups. Breathe on those that made a deposit and took their deposit and ran with it, Lord. I pray hope into them, hope into their children, hope into their marriages. I pray for marriages, that we will not let this cutting that we experience go in vain, because marriage is where it gets real. It gets real. It gets real. So I pray life, elevation and power into their lives, into the listeners, Lord. In the name of Jesus, may they know that this walk with you is real and we follow you in the way that you have led for us. So I thank you for it now. Be it unto us in Jesus' name. Amen. Y'all need to watch this show called The Chosen. Whoa, it is Dick Kelly. Oh my gosh. It is called The Chosen. It is the first mini series on the life of Jesus. Y'all need to go watch this show because it is literally the things you studied. It's called The Chosen. It's one season but it's a mini series on the life of Jesus, as opposed to shoving his life into a movie. It's not a mini series, excuse me, it's a series, and there's going to be 7 series total. Season 2 is about to be released. You can get it on YouTube or download the app. It is what we're doing, but it brings this life. Like, so if James and John were close to Jesus, why were they the 3 that was close? So you see him and why it was so deep that he went and got them. Why was Matthew being a tax collector? They show Matthew and you really see these quirkiness of how him being a tax collector, how he was mistreated by people and why it was so deep that Jesus went and got him. So I really recommend you doing that. And I love you guys. And
Are you Amazon, Netflix?
No, go on YouTube. It's not on, it is the first fully crowdfunded television series that has been strictly crowdfunded, and they do put it on YouTube, but you can also download the app and you can pay it forward and watch an episode and for free on there. So there's different ways. So either go to the Chosen app or go to YouTube, The Chosen thing. But y'all, it is like the woman who was caught, Mary Magdalene. It is deep how they show her story about how she had just had this life of sin, and they show you what that looked like and her being demon possessed. Oh my gosh, it's deep. So it hits home for real. It really would. It would be great for us to watch it and to hear everybody talk. But I love you, Kelly. Thank you for calling me and tell me, look, we need to do this. We need to do this. I love it. Jules, you are my girl. Laura Eki. Oh, bye, Tori.
Sonia, Tori, Jan, love you guys.
Bye, everybody on Facebook Live. Oh, thank you. Love you.
See y'all later.
Okay.